Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Bhavana, one of your hobbies is pista shell craft. What is pista shell craft? Can you describe it?
Sir, pista shell craft is when I use the used pista shells to make jewelry, wall hangings, and photo frames, sir. So apart from pista shells, I also use used beads and ice cream sticks to give a combined effect to these kind of artifacts that I make, sir.
But aren't pista shells very fragile? Can you make something durable out of them?
Sir, they are in fact very hard and they take perhaps years to get degraded. So it is quite long lasting.
All right. Okay. Now you studied in Bishop Cotton School for Girls. Where is that?
Sir, it is in Bangalore, Residency Road, sir.
Okay. And where is the school for boys located?
Sir, it is located opposite to the girls' school. It is in fact divided by the St. Mark's Road. So on the same St. Mark's Road, one side of the road is Bishop Cotton Boys School, and on the other side it is Bishop Cotton Girls School.
Okay, okay. Is there any other Bishop Cotton School anywhere in the country?
Sir, in the country there are, I think one of the Bishop Cotton schools is there somewhere near Ooty, sir. I'm not very sure of the other schools, Bishop Cotton schools in the country, sir.
All right.
Bhavana, your hobby is reading and reciting vachanas. Could you recite a vachana for us?
Sure, sir. Sir, these vachanas are completely in Kannada.
I know. So you can give us a brief translation, gist of it.
Yes, sir.
But before you do, recite the vachana, please.
Yes, sir. Sir, this vachana in fact talks about the importance of seeing oneself in the devotion of God. So it goes like, I am a poor man. I don't have the facilities to go and worship the God in a temple. So what I do is I worship the God within me, who is residing in myself. So I would start reciting the vachana. ಉಳ್ಳವರು ಶಿವಾಲಯವ ಮಾಡುವರು ನಾಯೇನ ಮಾಡಲಿ ಬಡವನಯ್ಯ ನಾಯೇನ ಮಾಡಲಿ ಬಡವನಯ್ಯ ಎನ್ನ ಕಾಲೇ ಕಂಬ ದೇಹವೇ ದೇಗುಲ ಶಿರವೇ ಹೊನ್ನ ಕಲಶವಯ್ಯ ಶಿರವೇ ಹೊನ್ನ ಕಲಶವಯ್ಯ ಕೂಡಲ ಸಂಗಮ ದೇವಾ ಕೇಳಯ್ಯ ಕೂಡಲ ಸಂಗಮ ದೇವಾ ಕೇಳಯ್ಯ ಸಾವಿರ ಕಣಿವುಂಟು ಜಂಗಮ ಕಣಿವಿಲ್ಲ ಸಾವಿರ ಕಣಿವುಂಟು Jangama Kalivilla.
Now, can you tell me to whom is this vachana ascribed?
Sir, this is ascribed to Lord Shiva, Kudala Sangama Deva.
It is addressed to Lord Shiva.
Who wrote it?
Who wrote it?
Sir, it was written by Baswana. Basveshwara, Sri Basveshwara.
Fair enough. Your other hobby is reading Kannada literature. Surely you have got prize for proficiency in Kannada literature as well, according to your dad. Have you read Ananthamurthy?
Yes, a few books of his I have read, sir.
You have read Sanskara, I am sure?
Yes, sir, I have read Sanskara.
No, Sanskara has a protagonist, Praneshacharya, who has a crisis of conscience about orthodoxy, about Brahmanic tradition. How does Ananthamurthy, in this famous novel of his, reconcile the rival pulls of tradition and modernity?
Sir, in this particular novel, he's in fact, Praneshacharya in the last, in fact, leaves the entire town or that village where he was and he goes ahead to find a new living or a new life. Because he was not able to overcome the doubt that he himself was in. So that crisis of conscience will lead him to a new beginning, what he seeks.
Excellent.
In this particular
one more question. You have appeared twice before in the interview in the UPSC. What were the marks you were given?
Sir, the first time I appeared, I had got 163. And the second time when I appeared, I got 180, sir.
Good. So you've been constantly improving. Let's hope you continue the trend. I will pass you on to Professor Tripathi.
Thank you, sir.
Good morning, Ms. Vana. Can you hear me?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir.
You are an IRTS probationer, so the railway must be the part of your the daily thinking. A bit of that, at least.
Sir, I was recently posted at Sholapur. So from February 15th, I'm working as AOM Sholapur, sir. Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Till then, I was a probationer.
So the Indian Railways and its statistics is well known, and it's world famous, the number of people it carries, etc. My question is different. In the modern times, a lot is changing in Indian Railway. So Indian Railway is the repository of the vast resources in terms of land. Do you think that Indian Railways can use its land resources in such a manner that it not only became the self-independent, but also it becomes the profit-making enterprise for the government of India?
Yes, sir. In fact, Indian Railways is looking to monetize its land assets. There are two aspects to this, sir. One is when they are going for station redevelopment projects. So wherein the land around the station area, which was till now lying vacant, that would be in fact utilized to modernize and develop the stations. The second aspect is with respect to using the land and the other assets like buildings that it has, like resorts or hotels, to improve the tourism potential. So there are tie-ups with IRCTC to utilize these land and building assets also, sir, to increase the profit for railways.
The projects that railways take up as a public-private the partnership, but the problem is that the perception that it creates. Many people think that railway is being privatized. The railway minister has repeatedly said that railway is not being privatized. So why the railway has to fight this perception all the time? The first thing. And the second thing, if at all it gets privatized, hypothetically speaking, then what is bad with that?
So firstly, with respect to the perception that railway is getting privatized, I think it is like more of liberalization rather than complete privatization, because railway has many of its, it has gone for corporatization, like IRCTC or RVNL. It has many of its PSUs which are linked to railways. So in that aspect, some of the PSUs are doing extremely well also. So rather than outright privatization, it would be more of liberalization and decentralization, sir. And with respect to privatization, I think it is good. And going ahead, railway should in fact bring in the private aspects wherein it can bring in new technology and other breakthroughs in management of its signaling aspects and even the other core technological areas. In fact, railway can learn from the private sector, sir. So there is, I feel that even if it goes for privatization, it would be good for the railways as a whole.
That's very good. And anthropology is your optional. So 2019, the Parliament passed an amendment act to include some more the tribes into the scheduled list. So a few of them are from Karnataka. Do you recall which tribes are there in that list from Karnataka?
Sir, I'm really sorry, sir. I'm unable to recall the exact names of the tribes who were included in the list.
For example, the Belgavi, everybody is talking about. So Siddhis, for example. Okay. I just mentioned that the Belgavi, everybody is talking about. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So the big, large population of Siddhis that is in the Belgavi area. So this is the one such group that has been made the part of the scheduled tribes, but there are a few more. But I think that is for you to look for that and read about that. My one question is that relates to your studying of anthropology. So how it had changed your understanding of cultures?
Sir, in fact, prior to being introduced to anthropology as a subject, my complete way of thinking with respect to understanding of cultures was different. Now I have become more open-minded and more acceptable to the differences in the culture that is in fact existing. And it has also helped me in my personal life, sir, because I am from Karnataka and right now I am posted at Sholapur. So it has helped me to accept and take in and gel well with this city also, sir. So this is in fact the change that anthropology has brought into me with respect to understanding of cultures.
Oh, yes. And it's a misnomer that many people think that anthropology is only about tribals. So in our country, for example, there is a kind of the intolerance that we are mostly talking about it. And also the one community or one culture looks down upon another. So do you think a crash course or maybe a bit of the basic ideas of anthropology that relates to cultural sensitivity should be made compulsory reading for the schools in our country?
Yes, sir. In fact, if it is started at a very young age, like you said in schools, it would help the children even widen their perspective also. Because in anthropology, the concepts like cultural relativism, understanding of different cultures, these are given in quite some detail, and that would in fact widen the horizon, widen the thinking also, and bring in more acceptability and increase the tolerance of the students and children also, sir. So it is in fact essential, even to increase the understanding between their own peer group also and the society at large.
And something light-hearted, the pista sale, the art that you create, had some people looking at it mistaken it for seashell art?
Sir, when I color the pistachios, like if I present the art without coloring, then they know that it is not seashell. But when I use colors and color the pistachio and then present it, then they do mistake it for seashells, and sometimes even broken eggshells also.
So if one is short of pistachio, so just for the sake of creating more paintings, one would buy more and consume more pistachio. Has it ever happened with you?
Sir, in fact, I have bought the used pistachios itself, sir. They are available in the market for 1 kg.
I can't believe it. Used pistachios are also available in the market. That's very good
Yes,
idea.
sir.
That's very good thing. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
So tell us, what is the theme of India's G20 presidency?
So the theme is one future, one world, and one family, sir.
One future, one world, and one family.
One world, one family, and one future, sir.
Okay. Now, recently the G20 foreign ministers meeting was held in New Delhi. You are aware of this?
Yes, sir.
Why
Yes,
did that
sir.
meeting fail to come up with a joint communique? India was forced to issue a chair summary. Why could India not issue a joint communique, which is the standard format used at such multilateral gatherings? And joint communique means all the countries have agreed to it.
So the ongoing global situation, especially when there is a Russia-Ukraine war, which is still continuing, so the countries were not able to come to one conclusion with respect to the foreign ministers meeting, sir. So this was in fact one of the major reasons why a joint communique could not be given at the G20 foreign ministers summit.
Okay, so the main sticking point, as you said, was Ukraine. So which countries did not agree to the formulation on Ukraine?
Sir, it is Russia and China, sir. So they did not agree.
But why? Because they had agreed to the formulation. We were using the same formulation that was used at the G20 Bali summit.
So the situation that was there at the time of Bali has dynamically changed to the situation that is currently there in the world, sir. So because of this, Russia and China had their
So what
own,
has changed between
differences.
Bali was in November 2020, we are in February 2023. What is the change in
Yes,
the
sir.
global situation?
Sir, in these 3 months, in fact, even during the winter, the war was long drawn. So now Russia is also expanding into more areas, and Ukraine is getting the support of West, wherein they are getting their arms and ammunition. So the war is still continuing, and it is not. It is, at least going by the current situation, it might not end very quickly, sir. So this was the situation.
No. So
now.
are you implying that Russia believed that in November at the Bali summit, the war was likely to end? And they said, okay, let's agree with whatever the world is saying. But now they believe the war is not going to end. So let's not agree to what we had agreed in Bali.
Sir, I'm not completely sure on this aspect, sir, but I feel that this can be one of the reasons why Russia did not agree now, sir.
Now, India has been accused by at least some countries in the West and even by some Ukrainians of profiteering from the war by buying discounted Russian oil 30% cheaper than the world market price. What do you think about this criticism? Is it justified? Is it not justified?
Sir, it is not justified because firstly, I feel that war and economics are completely separated, at least in the present world situation.
War and economics are completely separated. That's a very radical
statement.
Sir,
with respect to the crude oil purchase, sir, or the way India is looking at it, sir.
No, but how are war and economics separated? War directly impacts economics. In fact, the price of food and fertilizer has gone up directly because of the war. So how is it separated?
So with the aspect of purchasing of crude oil and profiteering from it, so we are looking at this particular situation from the aspect of our own national self-interest. So in fact, we are like a pure consumer who is looking to buy anything that we are getting at the best price, sir. So only in this narrow aspect, I said that the war and economics are separated with regard to this, sir. Otherwise, it is not, sir.
Okay.
I'm sorry for this radical statement.
No. So when you say that we are looking out only for our national interest, that's exactly what the West is saying. That you are looking only at your narrow national interest, that how can you profit, how can you, buy cheap oil, but you are adding to Russian coffers, which is prolonging the war and prolonging the misery of the ordinary Ukrainians. So how does that answer that criticism? Every country looks after its national interest.
So, yes, sir, every country will act only on its national interest. And even in this aspect, the hypocrisy of the West was also called out by our Honorable External Affairs Minister when he said that it is not only India that is looking after its national interest. In fact, all the countries of the world are driven by their own national interest and self-interest, sir.
No, but Germany was buying 55% oil from Russia, oil and gas. They have gone down to zero. At big economic cost to them. They have had to look for alternative supplies. They have had to completely rejig their supply chain. So they took a lot of pain. So, I mean, what was the national interest of Germany was to continue buying oil and gas from Russia, which is next door. Nord Stream pipeline was already there.
So, from the Indian perspective, I feel that being a large developing country having this much of population, and also we are dependent for almost 85% of our oil on imports, sir. So in this case, I feel that this would be the best choice for India to look after, sir. Okay, so in this way, I feel that our stand was justified, sir.
Very good, Bhavana. But I think the only question which put you on the wrong foot was, I think, the economics and war. So I think the only thing you have to worry about is to be a little more cautious with the words which you use. And the moment you said, quoted with great approval, our brilliant foreign minister, the Ambassador Swarup pointed out to you the contradiction in national interest and world peace and Germany's case. So better be balanced about these things. You don't have to swallow in totality whatever. I mean, obviously, the External Affairs Minister of India was making a very valid point. But it has to be put in the context of what the others have done. Have they paid a price? Have they sacrificed their national interest? Or have they seen their national interest as overlapping with the broader community of the global interest? I will pass you on to the chairperson.
Bhavana, when is your interview?
Yes, sir. So the date is not yet out, sir. It will be after April 21st.
Good. That gives you a long time. That's very good. There are two things which we advise everybody, not specific to you. One, questions are mainly asked from DAF, so you have to master your DAF. Okay? Now,
yes, sir.
Pick up your DAF, sit down with it, spend a couple of hours asking. We were asking you questions from DAF. If you were asking yourself, what will those questions be? Can you take out 100 questions or maybe 120 questions from your DAF? That is your exercise. Okay? So,
yes,
thoroughly.
Sir.
Secondly, newspapers have to be read very thoroughly because news and current affairs are relevant for everyone. So, which newspapers are you reading?
So, I'm able to read Indian Express, sir. I'm reading one newspaper every day, sir.
And you are based in Belgaum?
Sholapur.
No, sir. I am currently posted at Sholapur, sir.
Sholapur. Okay. Can you add one more paper, one economic paper maybe, or at Hindu, Economic Times, one more paper. All right. And start a diary. Physically pick up 5 items every day without fail. One page, one item, which you can keep on updating. All right, and keep on referring to. So these two will be important parts of your preparation. Good luck to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much for your time, sir.